This tutorial will be covering our SCI Supply Chain Intelligence tool, which combines core SONAR data and approximately $80 billion of annualized freight spend. SCI allows you to gain visibility and guide your RFP decisions all before, during, and after the award. With SCI Lane Acuity, you can view our high-frequency market data and weekly updated contract rates for any bids you are working through. It's the largest collection of freight spend data and is essentially like hitting the easy button. This gives you a starting price to set expectations. Now, when you log into SCI, it's going to take you to your My Files page. If you've never uploaded a file, then your list here will be blank. We do have a pre-formatted template that you're able to download on the far right. And in the template, you have your lane ID, which can be a specific lane ID that you use, or just simply 1, 2, 3, 4 if you choose to do so. Origin and destination zip can either be 3 or 5-digit zip codes. Now, we also have Canadian lanes available in SCI for van. And if you're using a Canadian zip, just use the first 3 values. Your origin and destination country code is either USA or CAN for Canada. Equipment type is either van or reefer. Has to be written this way, cannot be dry van, refrigerated, or you'll receive an error back. Adding in your length of haul. Benchmark rate, this does have to be in a rate per mile, so aren't able to put in, that full flat rate there. And then the volume that you're expecting to ship out for that RFP you're running. The custom field is, think of this as a notes field. Feel free to put in any additional notes needed here, or you can leave this blank. All the rest of the columns in this spreadsheet can be left blank. You can just simply delete the canned data that we have in here. These features do not currently function, change anything, or have anything to do with the rates within SCI at this time. So just simply delete that information, and all you have to worry about filling out is column A through I. Once this information is filled out, you can then choose to upload your file by dropping or clicking in here to upload it. And once you do so, it is going to provide you with a date range. It will show you that the upload was successful, how many lanes that were uploaded, and if there were errors detected, we'll display that to you as well. And it's going to ask you for a date range that you'd like to analyze your file. So you can click through here and adjust. I'm going to keep the dates as they sit and click Analyze. You're able to customize the fuel schedule that you use. So if you have your own set fuel schedule, or if the customer you're working on has their own fuel schedule, you can add that as well. It will add those rates or fuel surcharges into the rates that are displayed to you. You do not have to use a fuel schedule. So if you don't choose to, you can just simply don't use fuel schedule and continue. Now, the first view that you're looking at is your summary page. This is a high-level review of the lanes uploaded, showing totals in transportation spend, amount that you may be over or underpaying, load count, total miles, and then your total estimated carbon emissions. And this is going to be measured in metric tons. The map on the right is just going to show you the network for your lane. So it's just going to be a quick map out of the different lanes that you had on there. You are able to click these lanes for some additional information, total spend for the lane, volume, and other information that we'll be covering throughout this training. Moving on to the opportunity view. This is going to essentially identify that low-hanging fruit. These are going to be the lanes from a rate perspective that need the most work, whether you're, really underpaying or really overpaying on those lanes, and they have the most room for fluctuation, negotiation, things like that. So when you're looking at your rate that you uploaded, it is compared to the contracted market average rate. So if you are 10% below the market rate in this instance, and your lane score is 25 or lower, then it's going to be flagged in the underpaying. So when you look at your lane score, it's on a scale of 1 to 100. The closer you are to 100, the more favorable or easy that lane is to cover with a carrier. The closer you are to 1, the more unfavorable that lane is and the more difficult capacity will be to secure. So when you have a lane that you're underpaying on and it's a difficult lane to cover, that's what's going to flag in this underpaying. These are going to be areas that you may have a lot of service failures, or maybe you're constantly getting spot market exposure here, those type of scenarios. Now, we don't have any in the overpaying for this, but if you are in overpaying, it's basically the exact opposite. It's where your rate is 10% or more above that market contract average, and the lane score is higher than a 60. So meaning a very favorable lane, one that you should be able to put downward pressure on the current rate that you have. We also have thresholds that you're able to adjust. It's always going to default to standard. Adjusting these thresholds to moderate or maximum is just simply going to expand out the lane scores that you're capturing. You'll notice if I hover over the threshold down at the bottom of the screen there, it will show you how that lane score is expanded on for each of the thresholds that you choose. The scatter plot on the right, when you have a lot of lanes all at once, SCI is able to upload up to 20,000 lanes at one time. And if you have a ton that were flagged for over or underpaying, it's going to plot those all out on the scatter plot for you, organized by the percent difference from your rate to the average market contract, and then that lane score as your y-axis. The network view is going to be where you're able to balance DCs based on origin, using the lane scores to identify the more difficult DC locations in terms of attractiveness to the carrier. So it's going to, if you have multiple lanes coming out of Ohio, then it's going to group all of those lanes together. So your rate, contract, fuel cost, all of your signals and scores in here are all going to be averaged over however many lanes that are coming out of that location. The list view is really the biggest piece within SCI because this is going to give you a complete breakdown of all of the lanes uploaded. So you're able to conduct a deep lane by lane analysis for enhanced decision making. So if we start on the box on the left side here, again, you'll see your rate. You'll notice that it says underneath fuel not included. So you did not run a fuel surcharge chart there. So it has no fuel included here. The contracted rate, we do display the average fuel cost that we are seeing for that particular lane and adding it into the rate. So this is a line haul and fuel rate that you are seeing here. And then the track spot has fuel included. These are, all-in rates that we're receiving for the spot market rates here. So those are inclusive of fuel already. It's going to break down other information on your lane, like the volume count that was entered, metric tons, total miles, total cost. Your total miles is taking your length of haul times your volume that was filled out on the template. And then the total cost is taking in the total miles and then multiplying that by your rate to get the total cost. If you did enter something into the custom field, it will list that information for that lane for you here. And then you also have the lane score for that lane. Moving on in the middle, you'll see a complete breakdown of the contract as well as that track spot market rate. What's listed in the circle is how far above or below your rate is from the contracted. And then it's going to break out the range and then display that low to high, same with the track spot information. Going over towards the right, you have that lane score issued here again. And then you also have your outbound stability, inbound stability, and that load acceptance score. Now, all three of these are on a 1 to 100 scale. But when you're looking at load acceptance, do not think of this as a percent. Even though it's a 1 to 100 score, this is a weighted score. So it's going to be a 75-25 split between your origin and destination, or outbound and inbound markets. The SONAR signals just below that is going to tell you who holds the negotiation power for the particular area. So 0 to 50 is going to be more carrier. 50 to 100 is going to be more shipper. And then same for your destination. 0 to 50 carrier, 50 to 100 shipper. The value you see in the center is the actual SONAR signal, and then showing on the gauge there as well. The final piece on the list view is your chart. So the mountain solid filled in line here is going to be where the current rate has been over the last several of months here. And then the green line is going to be looking back at the previous year where the rates were for that particular lane. So you can see that downward pressure that we saw through the second half of last year, and then that continued downward pressure that we've seen all through this year on the rates. There's a separate toggle. If you look at your rejections, it's going to show you the same thing. Blue line is going to be current year, while the green line is going to be last year, just showing the fluctuation of rejections for the origin market. Now at the very top, we also have filters that you're able to apply as well. So if you wanted to filter down any of this information, you can do so, sort by rate, volume, the spot rates, contracted rates, anything like that. And then the final piece is the exporting the data. So you are able to export the opportunity view, the network view, the list view, or all three if you choose to do so. When you export the opportunity view, it is only going to show the lanes that were flagged in that opportunity section. The network, again, is going to be grouping your lanes based off of the origin, allowing you to balance DCs. And then the list view is going to export all of the lanes that you initially uploaded, allowing you to do a deep lane by lane analysis where you can, use VLOOKUP formulas, compare it to other spreadsheets that you're using, and really dive into all of the rating and market level data that we have. You'll notice that all of the information, the contract average, high, low, spot average, high, low, is going to be provided to you as well. So you're getting all of that rating information. Then we also have peer rates that are not listed in the UI, but still provided in the download, should you want to drill down to those peer rates. And then all of the other scoring information will be listed next. So if you wanted to look at the, rejections, signals, or any of those stability scoring, and then all the other information through here is going to be what was filled out on the template, origin, destination, country codes, zip codes, all of that, the dates that you analyzed the file for. And then your last three columns is going to be where that total cost, total miles, and total carbon metric tons is going to be listed for you as well. We hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out to your customer success manager or cs@freightwaves.com. Thanks for watching.